The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It was a huge staple of my childhood. From the very moment the late Walt Disney's name appeared on the screen to present the film, I knew I was in for a wonderful time. I learned many life lessons from the likes of Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, pretty much any of their friends in the 100-Acre Wood. I laughed at their antics, even gleefully sang along to the songs written by the two and only Sherman Brothers. Now, as much as I absolutely adore the Many Adventures, I also enjoyed the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the TV series, the other movies ranging from the Tigger movie to Pooh's Heffalump movie, and even Playhouse Disney's My Friends Tigger and Pooh. Yet for how much I cannot deny the love I have for this film, there was one part from it that sent a chill down my spine when I saw it for the first time. I'll give you a hint. No, it's not the Heffalumps and Woozles part, and it's not the part where Rabbit gets lost in the forest either. I know you're going to laugh at me for this, but it's true. The part I dread the most, of all things, is that stuffed Pooh doll I also saw at the beginning of the film. Now, before you start wondering how a cute little teddy bear can give children night terrors for weeks, I will explain how that teddy bear traumatized me as a kid. Even still creeped me out as an adult. See, I was 7 years old, hunched against the couch in the living room, as I was watching a DVD copy of the film, and, nearing the ending, Christopher Robin and Pooh were happily skipping into the distance, holding hands as the narrator says, "A little bear will always be waiting." And then the book in which the film took place closed, revealing part of the Pooh doll behind the open side of the book. And little did my 7-year-old self know that I was about to run to my mother screaming in a few moments. The scene then cut to the Pooh doll in all of its stuffed glory, perched against building blocks by the window of Christopher Robin's mom, and the book placed next to it. As I sat through that shot for a while, a small portion of the Winnie the Pooh theme song played. And when the music paused for a while, ding. My 7-year-old self could not do anything except sit there with a mix of surprise and fear on my face as I saw the Pooh doll suddenly move its left eye and wink towards the camera. That's right, I saw an inanimate stuffed toy do something only a living being could do. As the doll's eye opened again, and the end, a Walt Disney production disclaimer appeared on the screen, I jumped off from the couch and ran to my mother, screaming at the top of my lungs at what I had just witnessed. Now, my love for Winnie the Pooh, surprisingly, hasn't changed in the slightest in spite of this. But from that moment on, whenever I watched the film and got to the ending again, I always made sure to cover my eyes before that accursed teddy bear winked, and uncover them after the winking sound had passed and the music came on again. But little did my present 27-year-old self know that horrible nightmare wasn't over yet. No, it would come back to haunt me once more, and much worse than last time. One stormy night, I was at home, watching the news on television and accompanied by my pet Dalmatian, whom I named Pongo after the dog of the same name from 101 Dalmatians, one of my childhood movies next to the Pooh films. Suddenly, I heard the doorbell ring. and out of curiosity, I sat up from the couch and walked towards the front door as Pongo followed me from behind. Except when I opened the door, I saw nothing but the row of houses across the block and the rain pouring down as I looked left and right. As I was about to close the door, though, me and Pongo suddenly caught a glimpse of something laid out on my doorstep. It was a small package, roughly the same dimensions of a jewel DVD case. And as I picked it up, I also noticed a post-it note attached to it that read, "With love, a secret friend." I had no idea who that secret friend was, but whoever they were, it was really nice of them to drop by and leave me a little present. With the mysterious package in my hands, I walked back into the house with my dog and unwrapped it to find that it really was a jewel DVD case, and that it contained a blank disc inside that had The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, written in black marker on the front. And even though it was not an official DVD, seeing what was written on the disc alone was enough to remind me of my younger years. So, with a warm smile across my face, I popped the disc into the DVD player and got ready to watch the film. So far, there was not a single thing out of the ordinary with the unofficial copy of the film I got as I watched it. But when the saying goodbye scene came up, that's when I knew I had to watch out. Cautiously, I sat through Pooh and Christopher Robin's heartrending conversation about the latter having to go to school. And once I saw the book close, I readily placed my hands over my eyes as soon as the Pooh doll came into the scene. I heard it wink, but couldn't see it. So after sensing that the coast was clear, I unshielded my eyes. But when I did, I was really surprised. And no, not in a good way. The Pooh doll was still sitting there, staring blankly into my soul and thinking of its dirty trick and its brain of fluff. To make this even creepier, the music didn't come back on, and The End, a Walt Disney production disclaimer, wasn't there either. All I saw was the window, the building blocks, the book, and that Pooh doll. That's it. I mean, did my copy of the film suddenly freeze at the worst possible time? Unfortunately for me, it didn't, and things just got worse from there. As I blinked in disbelief, I suddenly realized that the doll's eyebrows were very, very slowly furrowing down. In fact, so slowly that I couldn't even see them move, but could see the somewhat aggressive expression on its face. As if that wasn't bad enough, I could even hear faint ominous music playing in the background as the Pooh doll slowly but surely changed its expression. I was beginning to feel really creeped out by now. Even Pongo whispered with fear, with his tail tucked between his legs. The creepy background music from the TV gradually built up and became more terrifying and suspenseful once the doll's eyebrows completely furrowed to make it look its angriest. I now saw its barely visible mouth stretching into a malevolent smile, this time at a slightly faster rate. Pongo started barking defensively at the TV as I continued to shiver with terror and even started hyperventilating. Even more so than I did when I was 7. Once that cursed stuffed bear smiled as wide as humanly possible, it then proceeded to bare these sharp, jagged, shark-like teeth. As Pongo continued to bark and bark, I desperately grabbed the remote and tried to stop that nightmarish part of the film by doing anything, frantically pressing the pause, play, and stop buttons. But they didn't work at all. The scary music from the TV just got even worse as I witnessed before my very eyes the evil Pooh doll getting up on both legs and giggling sinisterly. Now at my wit's end, I hurriedly ran to the TV plug and, as I saw the Pooh doll about to lunge at the screen, yanked it out as quickly as I could, effectively turning the TV off. Pongo finally stopped barking after that. As I hyperventilated less and less, I placed my hand over my rapidly beating heart and eventually sighed sweet relief as Pongo jumped down from the couch and ran up to me. With that demonic bear no longer on my TV to terrorize me, I felt that the nightmare had to be over. But man, could I be more wrong. I suddenly heard a certain giggle somewhere, and when I turned around, I gasped with horror when I saw what was awaiting for me on my couch. It was the same Pooh doll from earlier, staring daggers at me with that same malicious, sharp-toothed grin plastered across its face, and it's become real and out for my blood. Pongo growled and barked angrily at the Pooh doll as I ran for my life with a scream of terror. It jumped from the couch and landed squarely on my back, tugging on my shirt and sending me stumbling around at random. Eventually, the Pooh doll slammed me against a wall in the kitchen, temporarily knocking me unconscious as I fell down. And for a good single minute, I was slumped out on the kitchen floor, seeing nothing but pitch black. But when I finally recovered and slowly opened my eyes, I saw that sinister plush toy looming menacingly over me, holding a knife in its stubby hand. I could just feel my blood racing through my body as the Pooh doll slightly poked the knife against my nose, though not enough to cut a wound in it, and raised it in the air, ready to strike me with it as it cackled with full-blown sadism and malice. I was so stricken with terror that I couldn't do anything but lay there and breathe heavily, knowing that I was about to die. But just before the doll could swing the knife down at my face, a flash of black and white suddenly appeared and knocked the doll out of my stomach, catching me by surprise. And as I got up to my feet, I noticed that it was Pongo. He saved me just in time. I looked on as my dog violently shook the Pooh doll like any dog would with their toys, before eventually pinning it down and tearing it to pieces with his canine teeth, scattering clumps of stuffing everywhere. Once Pongo was done with his little rampage, I sauntered over to the remains of the evil doll and focused my attention on the dead doll's head as I saw its smile fade and its eyes closing. And with that, I sighed with relief again. The killer Pooh doll was no more. It was dead, for good. My attention then turned to Pongo, who was wagging his tail. As I kneeled down, expressed my gratitude towards him, and called him a good boy for saving my life. Taking notice of the mess that was the Pooh doll's remains, I took the time to pick everything up and place them in the garbage bin outside of my house. But I wasn't done just yet. I ejected the DVD I received earlier from the DVD player, smashed it into oblivion with my foot, and discarded the broken pieces in the trash as well. Now the nightmare was officially over. I could finally rest. I went into my room with Pongo following suit and settled to sleep in my bed, allowing him to sleep on it as well as I wished him good night. Despite that horrible incident, however, my love for Winnie the Pooh in general remained unchanged. A few days later, I received a genuine Disney-made DVD of the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which I ordered off of Amazon, as that fake DVD last night had caused me enough trouble. After popping the disc in and sitting through the entire movie until the end, I once again covered my eyes when the Pooh doll was about to wink. This time the music came back on. and so did the ending disclaimer over the scene. No scary music. No Pooh doll turning scary and evil. No nothing. Just the way the film should be.